Welcome to the Hip Hop Hustle podcast. I've got a young up and coming artist, but kind of mature artist at the same time. Metalecalec. I had to actually really focus on getting the name right because I said it to my friends the other day and I fucked it up completely. I'm starting to become known for fucking up names. It's an unfortunate thing as a podcast host to start being known for making mistakes on your podcast, but Metalecalec, he is on the show. Definitely someone to watch. And the great news is, and something that I've definitely noticed, is that in terms of your evolution as an artist, you're definitely getting better and you're definitely evolving your sound. And also, we just spoke about it right now, but your album, a new album, is about to drop. And when this podcast is out, it will have already dropped. So what is it called, my man? I'm going to give you the early shout out. We usually do plugs at the end. We'll plug it at the end as well. But what's the album called? When's it coming out? What's the plan for it?
I respect it. I appreciate you. The new album is called All I Can Take, and it will be available on all music platforms within the next hour. It's my 9th project. Like you mentioned a minute ago with the whole evolution thing, I've really been doing this for a very long time. And when I first started doing this in like 2015, I would look up to, all these different artists and be like, well, how do they do this? And how do they do that? And I would have all these questions. And I wasn't really able to receive the answers to those questions years and years later. And the thing with the progression thing, I have a catalog of at least 150 songs at this point. And I don't really feel like my music reached a level to where it was like kind of good until like the last year or two. So I've been working really hard for this for a very long time.
Well, I hate to break it to you, man, but I think it might be already out because I don't know about you, but I actually can see it on Spotify right now. So I check Spotify. You can check while we're on, but I can see it right now. It's 11 tracks. Yeah.
Yeah. It's out now.
It's out now, so make sure you listen to it because I was listening to it before. I was like, oh my God, could it be a second album release? No, it's definitely All I Can Take. And there are some great tracks on there. Alec versus Alec dropped earlier. You've got the music video as well for that, which is really sick. And you're in the snow and you're throwing money in the air. It's like the classic hip hop shit, which I love. But man, how did it feel to have an album drop? Because it's so much work before it comes out and now it's officially out and you can kind of just push the promo for it.
I think I'm a little more excited with this project for starters because I can just look back on it and I really, really took my time with this album. I love every song. There's so many different aspects of things that had to align with this project. And I feel like I nailed it in that aspect as opposed to the other 8 projects that are out when it's like, this could have been better, that could have been better. And to this day, I don't really listen to them as much. But when I do go back from, it's like, I just start feeling like anxiety building up. But with this one, I'm real comfortable with delivering the product to the world and the state that it's in. I'm just excited to see what it's going to do. At this point, I'm still independent. So everything is still on me. But I know, years from now, when I look back on this project, I'm like, I did my thing on that one. And as you mentioned, there were a few lead up singles like, Name Right, Time, Gotta Feel It, Right or Wrong, Alec versus Alec, like all those songs, this has been in the works for at least a year and a half, and Alec versus Alec was the first song I recorded for this album, August 2020. So it's been almost a year and a half.
Yeah, that is a long time. I mean, but part of me feels you said that you look back on your previous tracks and your previous projects and you kind of cringe a little bit. It makes you feel anxious. I have a feeling that's just you developing as an artist. I think every artist would go through that. No, is there a period? Do you think that even as good as this album is, it may be the best album that you've ever done, but you still want to grow and you still want to get better. And so you may still look back on this at some point in your career and go, I love this album at the time, but now I'm just a completely different artist. I wonder if Drake has that feeling, or if I wonder, he looks back and goes, gee, some of that shit was it just is cringeworthy. And now I'm just a completely different artist.
Yeah, I think that's the vicious cycle. Obviously, within myself and all the other greats as well. That was one of the first things I did when I started doing this. I would just say, let's say artists that I would look up to that have the most in-depth catalogs would be like Russ or Wiz Khalifa, Logic, G-Eazy, Drake, Kendrick, Cole, all them guys. Like, you go back to the very first project in like 2006 and 7, and you compare it to like 10, 15 years ago, and it's like night and day. So when I first started, I was listening like, damn, you know, they wasn't that great in the beginning. Look at them now. I'm like, damn, how could I just get to that point? So I was like, well, maybe I could work, and hopefully in a few years I'll sound great. And, you know, some of my homies that are around that have been around pretty much forever, they're like, man, this shit sounds good now. But back in the day, it definitely didn't. And I was like, well, what would you say if it still sounded the same that it did, you know, 5 or 10 years ago? And it was like, then it wouldn't have been it. So it's like, you know, like Drake would say, I have a burning desire to improve. And like you mentioned, this album, I love it at this moment in time. But, you know, a year or two from now, it's going to be old news, and just on to the next. Just continuing to scale the mountain, you know?
Yeah, and I just think that's the evolution of every artist. If you weren't like that, I would be maybe this ain't for you, because every artist wants to do better. Every artist wants to challenge themselves to the next echelon. Like, I don't think any artist, I mean, some of them obviously look back and go, that was a great album. They look back, obviously, because it's a huge success. But I think they would also look back and go, you know, as much as everybody loves this song, I reckon I could have done better, or I could do it better now. Or like there's other shit that they would change, or maybe the beat isn't what they really like, or there's just something about it. I have a feeling artists don't talk about it a lot because it's not cool to talk about. It's not fun when they're like, oh, I hate that song. And everyone's like, but that's my favorite shit. So I kind of get that feeling as well.
That's definitely the vicious cycle, you know, like it's kind of hard for me sometimes to enjoy my own music, because I'm always thinking like, you know, in terms of the sonics and the mixing, like that could have been turned up more. This could have been this and that. And other people, they're not listening for that unless they're like music industry heads. But the average listener is just listening. They're like, this sounds good. Now, some people still say that from the old stuff. I'm like, I don't know about that. But for this project, I think it's okay.
No, well, this project does sound good. I will say that sonically, the beats are very clear. Your lyrics are crisp. You can hear the difference in terms of production value, and in terms of sound. You've started to figure out, because I went back and I listened to some early 2019 tracks of yours, and the look on your face, for anyone who listens to this audibly, he gave like this scrunched up look, like, I already know what you're going to say, but you can tell.
Imagine 2016. It's way worse.
I went back and I can tell that there's still, and I love going back because you really get to see the evolution of what you worked on. But there is a difference between the beats that you had and the flows that you had. And there was like a mismatch between what you were doing. And it was still good. Like, it had the bones of potential, but it was like you weren't yet at the level where you combine them. And now it feels like your flow is as good as it's ever been. It's smooth as shit. You can really spit bars, and the beats match your flow a lot better. Like, you can see that you've been working, as opposed to like it's been, 3 years and the same shit is coming out.
Yeah, nah, I'm always trying to like mix things up and try new things and be cohesive with it. And just the thing about the flows is like, I swear they always come natural. Like whatever the beat is, I try to ride the beat and fit all the right pockets the best way possible with every song going forward. And like, sitting back, like I have all these different songs. I'm like, this is so different than this and that. I'm like, what just came to mind on that, it's not really that calculated. I just sit there and just all spills out naturally. And being that I've taken the last few years to learn how to do these things, like, write, record, mix, master, and all these engineering things, I'm able to put something together that's, has somewhat potential to go at this point. I feel like I reached a point with myself where I'm doing everything on my own still, and it's pretty good, but it's not where I want it to be. I can't call Boy Wonder to make the beat, or 40 to mix my vocals. Like, I don't have all the best quality just yet, but that's something I can't wait, that a level I can't wait to reach, but for now I'm still doing it on my own at this point.
Well, to be fair, it doesn't sound like you're doing it in a basement, It doesn't sound like you're doing it through a potato. So the quality still comes out. Like, obviously, I do it, my podcast, independently, and I hope it doesn't sound like it comes through a potato as well. But like, but I think it's just, you just step up. Like we said, it's that continuous, just slowly you step up and you start doing it different. And being independent is no mean feat. Like, it is just an absolute grind, because you do it all yourself. Like you probably, do you have like a small team with you?
I have a guy that I consider to be my videographer. We work together. But besides that, everything else is really done on my end.
Damn. I
At
don't know.
this moment, of course, there's so many other people that I look forward to working with going forward. But at this exact moment, I have my homie that does the videos. His name is Like Visions. Shout out to bro. He recently just moved to Miami and things are working out great for him out there. He shot the Name Right video and the Time video.
Bang. Well, they look good. It's so weird because I always look at people like you and I'm like, I don't know how you got the time to do it all. Because like I like all I do is I talk to you, right? And we talk and then I edit it, but I don't have to worry about music. I really don't have to worry about music videos. I don't have to worry about releases. Like it's all like mine's really scheduled and it's like not too much can go wrong other than the conversation itself. So, I mean, if that's fucked, the whole thing's fucked. But
Yeah.
other than that, it's like a pretty steady kind of moving piece. Whereas when you're making music, there's like 1,000 different pieces that are moving.
Oh, 100%. And like the thing is, you got to spend 1,000 hours on one piece. So it's like to create the right puzzle for it to be formulated properly for the people, or it takes a lot of time for sure.
Well, how do you actually manage that time? Like, do you have periods of time where I'm doing this, or I'm just doing that, or I'm just doing this?
I try to, balance out everything the right way in terms of like, handing out personal responsibilities or juggling relationships or different things. I just try to find the right time for it. That way everything is properly nourished. And obviously the music comes first before anything and everything, because that's like my child at this point. But just if you want, it's just like that in life. If you want it, you'll make the time for it. If you really want it that bad, you'll go get it. Obviously I want a 6-pack, but I haven't really put the time in to go get one like that. But the career, I refuse to just ever let it slip. Like it has to happen. It has to keep going. Like I refuse to like neglect it,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I also want a 6-pack and like, it's rough. It is rough to get that 6-pack. I mean, I love food. So it's just like, I know it's like 80% diet and 20% exercise. And I wish it was the other way around.
Oh yeah. Cause then you could just, cut the chase, but I feel you.
If I could wish for something, it would be like I could eat any food and I would look amazing. That would be the dream come true, honestly.
Yeah. Maybe in another universe.
I'm hoping I get the genie in the bottle and I can make 3 wishes. Oh no, my first wish would be for more wishes. That would be what I would wish for real.
There you go. Classic. I respect it.
Well, man, I think, in terms of for this project and this release, what have you got in terms of like planned for it? Like, are you doing shows? Have you got more promo? Like, what's the plan for pushing the release?
I think when I want to put it into the hands of the fans and hopefully they can spread it around through word of mouth. Obviously I have my different ways of marketing the music at this point. I just want to do as much as I can for the next few weeks. And then after that, just keep it pushing with what's next. Like I've already got the next 5 singles created going into the summer. So here it is. Let's enjoy it. On to the next until, what I'm saying, it's just continuously going.
Yeah, I think that is that difficult for you because, you said that you've got Alec versus Alec on this track, on this album, and that was done a year and a half ago. Is it difficult to sit on tracks for a long time, especially because, I mean, they're good. Like, you know what I mean? Like I can't control myself. That's why this works for me because I always get to put it out quite quickly. But like waiting a year and a half for something that I love, it must be like difficult.
Well, yeah. Well, the thing is, I didn't wait a year and a half to put it out. I created Alec vs. Alec in August 2020, and I put it out in January. So most of the time when I make a great song, it comes out in the next 3 to 5 months. But I felt like it was so good, I had to make the cut for the album. But I do feel that because at this moment in time, the things I'm creating now in February 2022, like I'm excited. And I feel like these songs have potential to change my life. And they're not coming out for a few months. So it's like, damn, I'm just got to like just make it the best I can before I let it go and it grows wings on its own. So I definitely feel that way sometimes. But like I think I heard someone say, like, if you wait too long to put a song out, it's like you're late to your own party. So it's like you want to keep it somewhat long, but not too long. obviously, being so independent, you could put things out when you want to. It's just I try to strategically put it out that way each song can get the right promotion for it, then move on to the next song. You know, before in the future, obviously, when I end up partnering with some type of label, I won't necessarily have that freedom, I guess. So for now, have been, you know, enjoying that freedom.
I think you're definitely right, though. That it is a balance, because there are other artists who do the opposite. They release so many projects, and then they don't give them the time to breathe, and they don't get the time to, like, for fans to enjoy them before the next project comes out. I feel like that's a really challenging timing piece to get right as well.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I learned that with trial and error, and I still don't have everything down pat. Like, things aren't like amazing just yet, but it's been working out to a certain way. Because like I said, I have a catalog of 150 songs plus. So like, I think from the years of like 2015 to like 2018, it was just, here's the album. Then after that, I was really inspired by what Russ did, which is like putting out a song. And I noticed that songs individually, you know what I'm saying, get absorbed more. So that's the route I'm on now. For now, that's what it is. Just here's the project, here's the song, just whatever I want to do. That's the beauty of being independent. Like, I'm just gonna give you what I'm feeling, and hopefully you'll enjoy it.
So clearly you enjoy being independent. Clearly you enjoy the freedom. So why go on a label?
It seems like they could do more things for me that I can't necessarily do on my own, which should be in my mind at this moment. Like maybe helping me, you know, get on radio, or, you know, linking me with this person, or getting me on like Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Ellen, all these different interviews and all these different big looks, these dreams and goals that I have for myself that I can't just accomplish from this bedroom. So it's like, in the future, it'll make sense. But as of right now, I'm still building to get to that point. You know, I'm 24 now. I've been doing this for about 6-7 years. It's been a long time still, but I've always told myself that if I ever make it to superstar to mainstream before 10 years, then I feel like I might have it lucky, because most of the people I look up to, it took them a decade to get there, and more, or some less. But, you know, I'm still working and still got a long ways to go. So I'm just, you know, scaling the mountain, but giving my all at the same time.
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, I've said this before on this podcast, but Kanye said it took 10 years to become an overnight success.
Yeah.
So it's like no one sees the hustle. I mean, these days people see the hustle more, but it does take time. And you're right. It's rare for people to get the overnight success off, you know, the first thing they ever release.
You get that you're not going to have the foundation. Like Russ would say, like, if you put a song out and you find that person, like, I like this song, let me go dig into other stuff, and there is no music, and you can't become a fan. Like, you have to work hard and build the catalog and have all this to offer. Kind of like, I'll use the TV show You, for instance. So like my girlfriend, she put me on to season 3, episode 2, and I started watching it from there, and I watched the rest of season 3. And I'm like, this is amazing. Let me go back and watch the first 2 seasons. So I did, and now I'm even more of a fan. But if there's not enough stuff for you to absorb, you can't be a fan.
You and I are so different, because there was no chance I would watch season 3, episode 2 first. I'd be like, I'm sorry, I'm out. I got to start from the beginning. If I got to watch this, we've got to start from the start. I think you're a bit more patient than I am, because I would be like, no, it's just ruined.
Yeah, because then you keep going and be like, what happened before this? Like, it creates the question, you know?
Oh, it's like the prologue. You're like, oh, I'm now up to this, and now let's watch the prologue, like the beginning. Whereas I'm like, a part of me is the opposite, because I hate knowing there's multiple seasons sometimes, because I'm like, I know the characters are going to survive. I don't want to know that.
Because you go back to season 1 and 2 and you're like, damn, this crazy shit's happening. I'm like, wait, but they're not going to die, obviously, because they're season 3. So it definitely ruins that, you know, perspective. Excuse me.
But I don't know if you heard, there's a show called Game of Thrones, and that
I've
shit. Yeah. Yeah. I think we both heard of it, but I think everyone's heard of it, to be honest. But I just like to talk a bit of shit and just pretend like, you know, maybe I'm the only one who's ever seen probably the most popular show of all time. But that's why I love that shit, because they killed characters, and I was like, holy shit, I did not see any of that coming.
Yeah, I've never even checked it out. I've heard about it. Is it worth checking out?
I would say definitely worth checking out. I would. It's like fantasy shit though, so you got to be okay with like swords and like a little bit of all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah,
I mean, I'm a fan. I rated it. I hated the last season, and it was just trash. But it's like 8 seasons long. It is a real commitment, but you actually don't know what's going to happen. Like things are going to just twists and turns. And yeah, I give you a recommendation for sure.
I'm gonna have to definitely tap in. That sounds cool.
Oh, do you know what I did want to ask you about? Is I think you got a song. It's called "Painful."
Yeah.
I want to talk about that because, and more obviously, it touches on a subject that is not a fun topic to talk about. But I was interested. Did you get permission from your ex to do that? Because I know, I mean, all my exes, they would hate if I made a song or even spoke about anything that they go through.
Yeah, let me give you the backstory. So I was dating this one girl a few years ago, and she obviously went through everything that I talked about in that song. And she was just like, she knew that I made music, and she was like, maybe if I like gave you the story, you could turn it into a song, and maybe you could help people. So I was like, maybe you could. So she like wrote a bunch of different points, and being that I'm a rapper, I know how to formulate words. So I created the song, and this was around November 2018. And I put it out in January 2018. And then we like shot the video. And at that time I was still doing videos by myself, but we went to Kroger and got the wine, and like she went in the bathroom and she was crying. I was all real. None of it was acted. It was real.
So that was actually
anyways,
her.
after we did the video, yeah, that was actually her. And in her mom's house, like it was all real. And after we shot the video, like we showed her mom, and she like started crying. I was like, damn, I know this is gonna impact people. Obviously she cried too. Sure enough, it was. I put the video on Facebook in February, I think February 19th, 2019. So it's coming up on 3 years. Tomorrow makes 3 years. And that was the first video of mine to like really just go viral and go crazy. It had like, I remember 100,000 views in a week, and then it had like 500K in a couple months. Then it hit 1 million, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it went on to do a lot of crazy things, and it kicked down the door for a fan base. It got me verified on Instagram. It got the attention of the local news channel in my city, and they wanted to do an article. It made it on live television, but most importantly, it went on to like be an anthem for people who have gone through abuse, if it's women or men, and they was able to relate to it, and it maybe stopped them from suicide, or it helped them, or you know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, that Facebook account got hacked and I lost all that, but I still have that. I re-put the video out on my new Facebook, and it still went on to do like 300K. And to this day, people say that they still listen to it and it helps them. But that song definitely changed my life, and it kicked down the door. And that was the very first song. Like out of all the songs I put out from November 2015 to February 2019, that was the first one to like be like, shoo, and just shoo, you know?
Yeah, it's so interesting. It's interesting that it was her idea, you know?
Yeah. I have done my best to give her credit throughout the years. Obviously, after that happened and then we broke up, she wasn't too fond by the success of it. She was like, where's my cut? And I'm just like, there is no cut. What do you mean? Like, but to this day, I don't hold no type of resentment. And I'm just glad that it did what it did. It's not about me or her, really. It's about what it's doing for the women and the people out there that it's helping,
Yeah.
That's how.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a challenging subject matter to hit. And for anyone who hasn't listened to it, I recommend listening to it. It talks about abuse, obviously from a young age, and it is confronting for sure. But the more I speak to people and the more I get to know people, the more I also realize that we all know someone, and unfortunately, most women have probably experienced some sort of trauma, whether it's like that or other. And that songs like this are important to just bring that to the attention of, the mainstream and make it better to talk about. I think that's what it does. It helps just bring it forward and helps others talk about it when it's not a fun topic to talk about. It's not, like, it's just awful to hear. And, my exes as well, we've had conversations about this, and it is just brings you to tears.
Yeah, it's definitely a very sad topic, but if you can find a way to help those people and let them know they're not alone, then that's a beautiful thing. And it also helped kick the door down for versatility with my music, because not only do I make the hype shit or the rap shit, I can give you the deep sad shit too. So I just want to be a well-rounded artist. You know, I love to rap. I do consider myself a rapper, but I'm also an artist. I do create all these different types of music. You know, I step into R&B or pop, or like, I don't want to just be labeled one thing, but I do love to rap, and I can rap my ass off at the same time, but I do these other things too. And I have to give out, I'm inspired by Drake. He does it all. That I aim to be that type of artist, someone who could just try their hand at all these things, you know, just to make great music.
How did you have the confidence to write the song though? Because like, but looking back, I mean, that's young in your career. It's really challenging. It's someone that you care about, obviously, at the time, approaching you with their personal story. Like, but actually to be able to feel confident enough to number one, write it, but number two, feel like do the music video and actually put it out. Like to me, it's like such a interesting decision to do, because obviously it changed your career. But at the same time, I look back and I'm like, I wonder if I would have done the same thing. And I'm not sure I would have, because I wouldn't have been as confident to be able to put it out.
I guess what it is, like now I'm 24, so I definitely think about things more strategically and more in depth. But back then I was 20, so I was like, I know how to rap, I know how to create videos, I know how to record. She wants me to do this, let me just do it, let me try. So I definitely didn't overthink it. I just tried to do what I thought I knew how to do, and it ended up working. Looking back on it, I wish I would have did more of a higher budget video for it, because the video is a little cringe, but it worked. Because like the guy I'm working with now is like super high quality, and I recently just started doing high quality videos. But before then, it was just me and my friends with the camera. But like that was definitely like shot amateurly. Like my friend, we were walking through Seattle. I was like, bro, record me, and like we're doing scenes downtown, and like, you know, I'm recording her in the bathroom with the camera, and it's all shaky and like edited on Premiere Pro. But I just didn't overthink it at that time. Now, obviously, things are more strategic at this point, but back then I just jumped in, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you can kind of tell, but at the same time, that's what makes it so good, is that it is raw. And if it was overproduced, it wouldn't look as good and it wouldn't feel the same way. Like there's a give and take as well, is like, if it was produced at a really high quality, it would almost feel like this is not a song that is doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's like, I'm doing this for the clout. Whereas like, because it was budget, because it was like home, because it was shaky, it actually adds to the whole thing.
Thank you. I guess I never looked at it. The budget for that video is probably $40, maybe like $20 for the wine or whatever drink she was drinking and the gas to drive around. That was the budget. And then the thing I was most proud about it that happened at that time was not only did it help people, but for something that I wrote, recorded, mixed, mastered, edited, you know, shot the video, edited the clips. I did everything. I didn't make the beat. I did everything else. And it went viral. I'm like, damn, like I owned that to begin with. And second of all, it's like I created that. So it's like I felt really proud about that. And I was like, okay, you know, doing this is really possible now. Because before that, I haven't had that kind of taste. I was like, okay, I can really do this now. So it's like, you know, they kicked down the door for that confidence as well.
And so how soon after that, have you gone full time in music, or do you still have like part-time job? Like what's your mix at the moment?
100% music is the full-time thing now. But back in the day, I did have to work jobs. My first job was like 2015. It was like I washed dishes at this restaurant. Then I worked in supermarkets and I did all these things. And it took years to reach a point financially where I could, you know, eat and pay the bills off the music. So I'm here now. In all honesty, I'm at a point now where I'm making it by, but I'm not balling just yet. And obviously when those days come, I'll enjoy life a bit more. But now I'm just focused. The bills are being paid. People around me are being taken care of off the music, but I'm still focused to get to the next level. You know, I barely just got my first car last week at 24. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a late bloomer, but I'm working hard though.
Everyone's on their own race. You do your own journey. So there's like, doesn't matter. That's honestly what I've learned is like, you know, I could have started this podcast 10 years ago and then I'd be like, as big as Joe Rogan, although Joe Rogan's not having so much fun right now. But,
Yeah.
you know, you can't control that part. You can only control, you know, what's happening in the moment and what'll happen moving forward. So, man, you hear there are so many artists who wish they would be full time. You know, that is the dream for a lot of them, is to not have a side job, to be able to just, you know, just be able to be like, I am full time. That's their next goal. So I think, you know, you would probably inspire a lot of people to know that you can do it. It just is a matter of time.
Yeah, it definitely takes time, and you just got to have that business mindset. Like, how can I, live off? It's not just the music; it's the clothing and the touring. I'm not even touring yet, so when that factor comes in, it'll help things a lot more. Like, I'm still at a point where I want to do all these things, but I don't necessarily have the budget for them just yet. So I have to save my money and I have to plan it and wait, as opposed to someone just saying, "All right, you need 50,000 here." Like, like these videos that I'm doing now, like the Time video. Like, that was my first time ever getting a song mixed and mastered by someone else. I sent it to Ali, which is, I think, one of the in-house engineers for TDE, which is, affiliation with Kendrick Lamar. So I was like, that was a big deal. That was like 1,500 to get it mixed, and then it was 3,000 to shoot it, and it's 1,000 for promotion. That was like a $6,000 project. I didn't make that 6,000 back. I made maybe a few hundred of that, to be honest, like maybe $500 or $800 of that back. So it's like, I know one day all that'll come back, but it's like, you really got to invest in it in hopes that it will take off one day. It won't go unnoticed, maybe for a few years, but one day they'll catch on. You just got to tell yourself that. It's all in the mindset.
So interesting because, you know, when everyone in normal business, everyone looks at ROI, return on investment, right? And so you're looking at return on investment and you're going, my return on investment right now sucked balls because I didn't even break even. Right?
Yeah.
But as an artist, it's all about long-term projection. Is like, if I create enough projects that are enough quality that over time they compound and then I get my return long-term. But like,
and then it'll all be worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that that's a struggle with an artist, is like, you save, you spend your money to make sure it goes back into your career. But there are a lot of artists who can't do that, who are unwilling to spend 5-6 grand on a project and know they're not going to get it back, because they're like, well, why would I spend that much money when it's not going to come back to me? So maybe I'll spend 500 on the project and I'll make 500 back.
Yeah. I guess it's just to each his own, and just a personal belief. Like, I really believe in this, even if it's not today or tomorrow. Because at this moment in time, I still have this belief, like, okay, I had a couple songs do some sparks, but I've still yet to create a hit song. So when that hit song comes, if it's today, this year, next year, 5 years from now, whatever, whenever it happens, all that attention and all that hype from that hit song, they're all going to come back and stream my catalog that I own. No one owns, I own my catalog. So that's going to be the return on investment, that happened to Russ. And I feel like that's going to happen to me. So it's like, I'm building this great wall of me. Like, I'm laying a brick a day, and eventually I'm gonna turn around, it's gonna be a big wall. So it's like, I'm still, building my catalog, and eventually one of these songs are just gonna go and they're gonna come back. There you go. That's what I believe.
Well, I mean, I think that's a great mindset, and I love that metaphor that you're building the great wall, the great wall of Alec. That's what we'll call it. But no, man, I think the mindset is such an important piece and so underrated in terms of being an artist. I think a lot of people talk about the skill set of an artist, not as much as the mindset of an artist, because the mindset is really the driving factor to anybody's success.
Can you hear me clear? It was cutting out a minute ago.
Yeah, I think it cut out for like a second, but I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, I think it takes a lot of things. Back in the day, I used to think to myself, anyone can do this, but in reality, you can't. You have to be mentally equipped. You have to have the work ethic and the mindset and the persistence and all these different things to want to go after something. Like, unfortunately, we live in a world where people want instant gratification, and they want to try something, and if they don't get the instant results, they give up. See, I think that's a personal problem with a lot of people. Is like, they'll try this, it won't work. Try this, it won't work. It's like, it's not that it's not working. You just didn't give yourself enough time, you know, like give yourself at least a decade, you know what I'm saying? Like, and study everyone in the field that you're trying to get to, learn how to do all these things. Like, if you want to do it, you'll pull it off. It's like I said, I've made it pretty far, but I'm still nowhere near where I'm going to be. But it's like, I made it to a point enough to where I could talk, but it's like, at least you got to just stick with something. People like, they give up too fast. You can't do that or you're not going to get it. It's just, this is what it is.
Well, I heard someone say, like, if I could guarantee you that in 10 years, you'll be successful at no matter what you do in 10 years,
Yeah.
But you got to put in for 10 years, would you do it? And I think most people, the answer is no.
Yeah. I've definitely talked about this in previous interviews. I was like, you know, even today, I'll tell you now, it's like, if you told me, like, as hard as I'm working now, like, you're still not going to get that hit song for like 5 or 10 years, even if you're working 8 hours a day, every day. I'm like, all right, bet. Well, it's not like I'm in love with the playing the game. I love making music. Obviously, I want to amass success within this, but I love doing this to begin with. So, you know what I'm saying? That's cool. I'm going to keep working and I'll get that when it comes. But, you know, I'm in love with the craft to begin with before any type of point. You can't play for the points. You got to like be focused on the craft.
You know, I agree. That's why I'm not an artist, because like it's not in me. Like I'm not naturally a musical person. I love music. Obviously, that's why I have a hip hop podcast. Like, I absolutely love it, but I know where my skill set lies. My skill set is definitely in talking, but I also know that, like, I love talking to people and I love hip hop. And that's why I've got the podcast. And I've seen, and people have asked me, like, what do I do a podcast on? And it's like saying, what do I write a song about? I can't tell you what to do it on, because it has to be you. You have to like it. Like, if I told anyone who's not into hip hop to do a hip hop podcast, you'd quit in 3 episodes, because you'd be like, fuck this. I don't give a shit about it. So like, it's such a weird thing. You got to chase what you like rather than chasing the status or the dream of money. Like, yes, we all want to make money, but at the same time, you got to like what you're doing to get there.
100%. Because if you don't love it and your heart's not in it, people can tell. And, you know, again, I'm definitely grateful to be on this podcast. I appreciate you reaching out. How did you initially find me again? That's like my favorite question to ask people. It's like, how did you discover me?
I actually found you through Instagram, through a few people that I follow and who they follow. So this is what I do. For anyone who wants to know how I find people, is like, any guests that I have, I'll go through who's following them, and I just go through the channels. And so that's literally how I went through. I forget who the connection was, but my most recent episode dropped with John Connor. Was that the one? Yeah. So John Connor dropped. Mega Ran is dropping this week. And so what I do, I just go through their catalogs, and I just go through who's following them, who are they following, and so on and so forth. And then I just end up in a back channel. And then I'm like, oh, this guy's pretty good.
I appreciate it.
No, yeah. And then I'm like, oh, he's pretty good, young, talented. I see some potential, future potential. And I'm like, oh, let's give him a chance. Let's speak to him. Let's reach out, see if this would be something you're interested in. And then, you know, if you don't ask, you don't get. And that's literally the formula.
100%. It definitely doesn't really happen as often as I like it to. You know, I actually haven't had anyone reach out to want to do anything like this in almost a year. So like, I'm always grateful and comes. Like, I know in the future, everyone's going to be coming after me, but in this stage, it's still minuscule how many people are coming out to do it. So I enjoy it, and I definitely always make the time, because I'm going to look forward to watching all these interviews years from now. And I know that you and anyone else who ever interviewed me is going to stick around and be there for the, you know, the bigger days when they come. So I love it, man. It's just a chance to talk and give some truth to these people.
Well, I mean, my opinion on this is, you know, I know realistically not everyone I speak to is going to be a superstar. There's like, it that really, I mean, I've done, what is this? We're looking at close to 90 interviews. So I've done a lot of interviews, right?
Must have been working.
But yeah, it's the hustle, but I've done close to 90 interviews. You know, I know realistically that not everyone will be a superstar, but I also know that there are definitely superstar potential in all the people that I speak to. So what I really want to see is like, as I get better and as I get bigger, you also get better and you also get bigger. And it will be extremely cool that in 5 to 10 years from now, like we're talking, that you're huge. My podcast is huge. And we come back and we're like, hey, do you remember the time where you did this in your bedroom? I upgraded. Yeah, I have like a mic and shit, but like now it's even more professional. Like that's the dream come true, is like seeing the progression at the same time and have people that are like, man, I remember I came on your show when I was nothing, or I came on the show when I was starting. And now we're both huge success.
Yeah, that's the beautiful cycle, and I definitely respect it and love it at the same time. And it's like, obviously everything is documented, so it's there to go look back on, when that happens. So I believe in manifestation. And it happens, but you got to go work for it in between. That's what they don't tell you. But you got to tell the universe what you want, throw everything at the wall, and then go do what you can to make it happen.
Well, that's why I don't really believe in fate, because like to me, fate is like, if you work hard enough, you can get it. But it requires the work, because to me, the idea of fate is like, it's meant to be. So if I stopped the podcast right now, would I be a big podcaster? No, I wouldn't. So it's in my control. So I'm a big fan of, my personal view is like, I want control of my life. So I don't like the idea of predetermined. So I don't know. Like, I just think that I don't know. People talk about fate a lot, but I'm just like, take control. You do you. If you want it, go get it.
Yeah, it's literally up to you, like what's going to happen next. It's like the cool thing about music or whatever, you create something that didn't exist. So it's like, if you can create something, it's like it's literally up to you to build and create what happens next in your future. Like, be a good person, have a good character, have a desire to improve, to be a better whatever man, husband, rapper, like whatever you are as a person. Always want to continue and get better as time goes along, as opposed to getting worse or going backwards. That's not the way to go. At least I don't surround myself around people that are like that. We're always trying to grow and get better from here. I don't know if you saw these, but it's like a thing in a relationship where when you're busy and you want to let your partner know that you're thinking about them, they could press this. My girlfriend got me this today on Valentine's Day. You should get one.
Yeah, man. Well, first I got to get a girlfriend, so that's a different problem altogether. And to be honest, if we want to talk about my love life, we might have a different podcast altogether where we deep dive into my problems. But yeah, have seen those. They are very cool. I saw you press it during we were talking about fate. Must have been one of those things where, she came to mind when fate came through. But I actually wanted to ask you as well, because I mean, you're a young artist. You've got tattoos, you wear bling, you've got the music videos, you're throwing money in the air. Do people have a preconceived notion of who you are before they speak to you? Because you're like a genuinely nice guy, but the image of an artist and the image that you sometimes can portray, obviously as an entertainer, can vary. Do people ever have that with you?
I think different people have different perspectives, and some people take me serious, some people don't. Some people like me, some people don't. It's just, at the end of the day, I could just be myself. And if I'm able to appeal, or if anyone's able to connect or enjoy what I do, then I'm grateful. But they don't have to. It's a big world. There's so many different things going on. Like, if you choose to buy into what I'm doing, then awesome. But if not, then it's cool. I just need a good amount of people to impact, and I'll be good. I kind of, to an extent, didn't fully understand the question.
Well, just like, do you think that people judge who you might be or how you might behave purely from, how they see you in your music videos?
I think maybe the only thing some people might disagree with might be like the throat tattoos. But other than that, there's not really anything you could pull apart that's not good, because I conduct myself as a well-mannered man. I have character, and I have morals, I'm respectful, and I'm honest, and I tell the truth. I don't bite my tongue. I work hard. I mind my business. I pay my taxes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I take care of the family. I work hard. I'm ambitious. I'm trying to spread positivity. I'm trying to do everything the right way. So someone might not necessarily like it or agree with it. There could be envy there. There could be something within themselves that's bothering them that they can't, that's reflecting between me and them. That's a personal problem with them. But for the most part, not really. No, a lot of people show love, and the people that don't, they don't. I do get a lot of hate too at the same time, but it doesn't bother me. I actually enjoy it. I mean, obviously over the years I've grown thick skin, but at this point, like when you see someone hating in you in the comments, that's an interaction. Interactions boost the algorithm, so they're helping you out to begin with. So, and if they're streaming your music to listen to it, to go say it's trash, or sharing it, they're just helping you, you know. So what bothers me is when people create fake lies and try to spread it to your fans, and your own fans believe it. Like, I haven't really felt that on a massive scale yet, like other massive celebrities do, but I have felt it in miniature ways, where someone might say something that's not true and go message my fans saying that I did this, and they believe it and they'll follow me. I'm like, it's not real. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Do you have an example?
Give an example.
Yeah.
Okay, so I make the song Painful, you know, an anthem for rape or any victim of abuse. And some person hiding behind a fake account comes and comments on my picture. This guy's a rapist and he loves to do this to little girls. I'm like, hold up, what the fuck? Like, you are crazy. And then they'll go DM other fans saying, he did this to this person. I'm just like, first of all, who are you? What? And then my own fans come message me and saying, is it true? I can't believe this. I'm like, what? That kind of shit, like people creating these fake false rumors that are things that beyond the kind of person I am. Like, I wouldn't hurt a fly, you know what I'm saying? Like, but that kind of says crazy to me, and I know it's going to get crazier as time goes along. It's just, there's nothing you can really do but just, you know, be honest and try to tell people, to try to, you know, debunk what's going on. But some people are going to believe what they want to believe. It's just what it is.
I just can't believe people have the time to do that. Like, you know, like,
most of the time children or teenagers, because us adults that are working hard to provide, who has time for that? You know, like,
yeah, and like, come on, like, it's just I can't even be bothered setting up accounts for myself, let alone fake accounts to like go after other people, like, and message other people. Like, it's too much effort, to be honest. Just my theory is, and I agree, I was going to say, if you want to hate because it just helps boost the algorithm, it just helps boost everyone's career. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Hate boosts things more than love, which is such a strange thing in the human condition. But like, you keep hating, you keep commenting, whatever, like whatever you got to do, keep pushing it forward.
Yeah, obviously the best way to hurt an artist would just be to just like not fuck with them. Don't watch, don't view, don't listen, don't spread the word. Just stay back and just not fuck with any of that. That is like, you know, that would, you know, we can't count you in at that point, you know. But if you feel all those things and you don't elaborate, then that's the best way you could not fuck with the artist. If you don't fuck,
I think it's the healthiest way to not fuck with an artist. Like, it's just, yeah. I mean, not every music and not everyone's for you. I know that my podcast is not going to be for everybody. That's okay.
Yeah.
So I don't mean, so like, yeah, a healthy way to be like, I listen to it, it's not for me, and then I'll move on. That's it.
Yeah, but don't hate it though. It's like there's some people like that hate on me. I'm like, you might not like how I sound, but I'm doing everything the right way. Like, it's on beat. There's flows. There's this. There's that. There's this. So I am a good rapper. You just might not like how I sound, because there's other artists out there that I'm not too fond, and I don't really like how they sound, but I respect everything about them. I just can't enjoy it because of the way they sound, which is me personally. But I'm not hating on them. You know. That's just what it is. It's human nature.
Well, I agree. You're not supposed to like everything. Otherwise, what's the point of music?
Yeah, and then you're not a well-shaped character either. If you're just buying into everything gimmickly, it's like, oh, y'all like him? I like him now too. Like, the bandwagon. Oh, I mean, they help artists, sure, but I could never be one of those people. I have my own select amount of artists that I listen to, and you know.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, you did bring up the neck tattoo, because I'm obsessed with tattoos. I only watched a couple of reality shows, and I'm obsessed with Ink Master. It's a show that I've watched since season 1, and they always talk about how neck tattoos are fucking painful to get. How was that experience of getting? Because you got a big piece. It's not like a tiny piece. Like, it is huge. It goes all the way down your throat. You've got the neck tattoos. Like, I don't have any tattoos, and so like I am so intrigued as to like the neck piece and the experience of going through that, because I've heard it's like you're being choked.
I think now at 24 years old, I'd be a little more skeptical about those decisions. I don't regret any of it. I still love it, but I would think twice this age. But I did all of this when I was like 17 or 18. So I was in high school, like with all this. Like I was the guy that was just inked up. At that time, it hurt and it tickled. But I used to smoke weed back then. I don't smoke anymore. But back then I would smoke a lot. Just go get tatted. Like my whole front's tatted. And it was just something I did. And I loved it. And I just like, I knew I was going to be a rapper one day. So I was like, let me just get this out the way now. And I did all that. Haven't really gotten many tattoos in the last few years. I want to finish my back, of course. I would say people like Tyga and Wiz Khalifa were like early inspiration in terms of like being tatted up. I'm glad I never tattooed my face, but it tickled. It didn't really hurt. Everyone's pain tolerance is different. What hurts is like the collarbone or the chest or the rib cage, you know, the front of your hand. That hurts. Like this tickled. Like I was laughing and I actually got videos on YouTube. If you search Metalecalec getting throat tattoo, I think someone posted it. It's on YouTube. It's not on my account, but someone posted it. So I was just like, you know, just like being funny about it, but different. Some people deal with it differently, but for me, it didn't really hurt too bad. Now the skull, like behind my ear, that hurt because it's nothing but bone. That hurt. You know,
Yeah, I've heard the bone ones are the worst ones. That's why collarbone sucks because it's like bone on needle, and that's why the hand sucks. I've also heard the palm is really painful and a really shit place to get. Like, yeah, there's just so many. There's so many painful areas. I don't know. I feel like I do want a tattoo, but I'm super indecisive. So like, I'm scared that I'll hate it in like 15 minutes, and I'll be like, nah, I fucked that up.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time it's there for life, but you just gotta love it. Just be passionate about what you do. You know, I have some tattoos with like matching tattoos of my ex, and it's like obviously that didn't work out, but it's like I don't hate it. I just like, okay, that's where I was at that point in life. Now I'm not saying all this is gonna look good when I'm like in my 50s or 60s. I don't know. Probably look like a wet newspaper at that point, but for now it looks clean. I like how I look with them still. So it's like
I love that. But do you know what it is? I figured it out. It's your motivation to go to the gym and get the six pack. That's the motivation. You don't want to look like a wet newspaper. Hit the gym.
Yeah, might have to. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I was working out a lot more consistency last year. I just got to get back to it. I fell off. I'm not gonna lie, but I will. You know, I'm just gonna get back to it at some point.
To be honest, it's not like you're, 350 pounds. You know what I mean? It's not like you're the fattest man I've ever seen in my life, and we're like, you got to get your shit together. So I mean, like, as long as you're training a little bit, like I'm on a new regime, I'm trying to get fitter and trying to, train a bit more consistently. It's just an ongoing thing.
Yeah, I know I'm definitely getting older. My metabolism is slowing down. So the older I get, I don't want to become thicker and get, more unhealthy. So I definitely want to get right before it's too late, because they say it's harder to get in shape when you're in your 30s. So, it's in the inception has been planted.
Well, the good news is, I'm approaching 30, so I'm getting scared. So yeah, I'm trying to get that shit together. I know I've looked like this since I was 16, to be honest. I've been like an old man for a long, long time. But yeah, approaching 30, I'm very scared of 30. Actually, I used to be more scared, and now I'm like kind of easing into it.
Yeah, don't be scared. At 24, I'm looking forward to 30, because I feel like by the time I'm 30, like everything will be the way I want it to be by then. So I have high hopes for then. So you're just entering a new chapter. They say 30s are better than your 20s because you have all the knowledge and the money or whatever with the new decade, as opposed to like being young, trying to figure it out. Your 20s are supposed to be your grind time. And then your 30s, obviously still grind time, but you have all that knowledge, because obviously before your 20s, you didn't have it. Yeah.
Well, I'm starting to say 30 is the new 20. I'm hoping it's the new saying. 30 is the new 20. So that when I turn 30, everyone is saying it. And then I'm like, hell yeah, I'm actually like 30 is the new 20. So yeah, that's what I'm promoting. But like, I remember being 24, because I'm 28 now. So it's not like we're huge difference in age, but like, no. So when I was 24, I was actually legitimately scared of 30, because I was like, oh shit, I'm about to turn 25. And when I'm 25, I'm closer to 30 than I am to 20. And so I'm practically 30.
I do get scared sometimes, but then I'm like, age is just a number, you know. I actually like to surround myself around people that are older than me. If it's, you know, just in any kind of way, I feel like I can learn more from people that have been around longer. So I look up to people that are older than me
Yeah,
more
they
so
do.
than.
Have you noticed they talk slower? Old people talk really slowly, whereas like young people talk really quick. It's so interesting because sometimes I'm like, can you just spit it out, please? But like,
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably because older people, they want to take the right time and give you the right knowledge. And when you're younger, you think you know everything, and you want to tell someone that's older than you that you know everything when you don't know shit. When you actually should be listening. So it's like, you know, I think that's probably the case there.
yeah, I agree. But I think we should talk to old people more often. Their stories are so interesting. Like I was speaking to my babushka because I'm Russian, so I was speaking to her and asking,
Right?
yeah. So
I was
like,
gonna ask from because you definitely have an accent.
I'm in Australia right now, so I was born in Australia. I'm first
Wow.
generation, but my grandma, she came here. My mom and my dad, they were both born overseas. But my grandma came here when she had $100 in her pocket, $100, two kids, and that's it. Couldn't speak English. Like she came here with nothing and she worked like factory jobs. She was taking overtime. Like it was crazy. Her life has been a difficult life. And just talking to her about her life is so interesting because it makes me really appreciate everything that we've got right now.
Yeah, that's, you know, she definitely took one for the team. That's a classic story there. So you're in what part of Australia?
Melbourne. So we're down south.
Nice. As an American, it's definitely, I have dreams of coming over there to see, like, I want to say Perth, Sydney. Like, I have dreams of coming to Australia one day. I'll definitely see myself coming on a tour one day. I have a good amount of fans over there, not a lot, but a, you know, good amount of people know who I am over there. So that's all. That's awesome. I don't know where you're from. To be honest, I thought maybe like the UK or something.
Nah, well, the thing is, so I very rarely tell people where I'm from in terms of I want everyone to assume that I'm near you somewhere. For whatever reason, I used to tell people I'm Australian and then they wouldn't respond back in IG. So I've just stopped doing it.
No,
So
that's
it,
cool. But the internet, we're all neighbors. You know what I'm saying? The internet blurred the lines on the map.
I agree. But I also like the look on everyone's face when I've got an accent, the surprise. Because everyone's
Yeah.
like, hold on, man, you're not American or you're not Canadian or you're not whatever it is. But
No,
then,
it's cool.
yeah,
That's a cool thing. You know, I was born in America and I'm mixed with Iranian and I guess American. Like I have a whole side of the family that's Iranian. They're from Iran. But I was born in Denton, Texas, and I was raised in Little Rock, Arkansas. So I'm like one of the people that I'm putting on for Arkansas. But yeah, I think a lot of people that they look at me and they're like white rapper, white rapper. I'm like, I'm mixed, but if you want to call me a white rapper, if that's the box that you guys are putting me in, then sure I'll go with it. But I'm actually mixed. But I actually just carry myself as Alec. I don't really define things on race, but if we're getting technical, I'll tell you what I am. But you know, people are gonna judge you how they want to judge you. It just is what it is. Especially if you're gonna be a public figure or a celebrity of some extent, like they're always gonna try to pick out like people. There's some people that don't necessarily take me serious as a rapper because I'm white or whatever, but I'm like, okay, but you know, I could do this really well. So it's like you should be judging it, like Logic would say, you should be judging it by the rap and not the race, because that's the issue that he seems to have had throughout his career. People are judging him on his race when he's actually one of the best rappers out here, and they're not even judging him by that. So it's like people got it twisted, you know?
I think it goes both ways. I think the whole discussion is like everybody should be just evaluated on who they are and what they bring
Yeah,
to the table.
on you, not your bank account, not your race, but your character and how you treat other people. That's just how I feel.
And I also think, the more diversity we have in every place, the better it is. Like it's the best. I love that I get to talk to people from different backgrounds, different to my
Yeah,
own. I love that. That's the best thing ever. That's why I love hip hop because people in hip hop are completely different to me. Like
yeah,
I don't want to talk to myself all day. I do that already. So
yeah,
like I want to talk to different people. Like I like that we're all different. I like that we all have unique stories. I like that we create different music. We have different opinions. That makes us interesting because otherwise, like, man, it's cookie cutter shit and it's like same shit, different day. What's the
yeah, yeah. No, that's just what it is. You know, it gets really agitating at times.
Well, man, the good news is that you are a good rapper. Let me say that. So you are a good rapper. You do have potential. And obviously, you know, you're just starting out in your career and there is, you know, a lot of scope for you to continue to get better. I can't wait to see what you do. And I can't wait to see how this album goes. Obviously, it just dropped. So everybody, please make sure you check it out. It's called All I Can Take. It's got 11 tracks. It's out on Spotify. I'm assuming iTunes as well. I think I saw SoundCloud as well.
Not SoundCloud, no, but it's on the main platforms I promote would just be YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Music. But the easiest way to find it is to click the link on my bio on my Instagram account, which is METALEC, ALEC. You know, like that's the easiest way. I'm always putting everything out front.
Metalecalec obviously came through, but man, as I said, absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Is there anything else you wanted to plug? Anything else you wanted to shout out? Now's the time.
Just come follow your mans on Instagram at METALEC, and just follow what I'm doing. You know, you don't have to care, but at least give me a chance to show you that my heart's in this and I really care about what I'm doing. And I want to continue to grow and make better music and reach new levels, and especially in Australia. You know, as an American, it's my dream to come over there. So let's make it happen. You know, just me and you.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I can't wait for you to come down here. We can do this in person. But yeah, no, everybody check him out. Obviously, a large catalog of music. Do what I did. Start with the early shit and see the evolution as an artist. Look, I'm not going to say you're going to fall in love with the early shit, but at least you're going to see that he's getting better. Like sometimes it's the journey that you see that makes you like an artist. So just bear with me. Trust me on it. You'll see the journey. You'll see the development. And from there, you'll be a fan. So, nah, man, as I said, pleasure to have you on the show. And thank you for spending, like, what is it, evening for you right now? Afternoon for you?
Yeah, 6:57 p.m. here in Arkansas.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you giving me the time and spending your evening. Hopefully now you can sit back, relax, and watch the streams just go up and up.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, bro.
No worries.